Okay, how's it going, y'all? So this will be my second and my last video of the day. Now, I was thinking about this issue for a minute here about Brian Flores. Of course, if you're an athlete or former athlete, we all know about the young man, all right? Used to be the coach of Miami, not anymore. And I was shocked that he was fired as well, okay, after 3 seasons, had 2 consecutive winning seasons, all right, but because of the way that the NFL was set up, the playoff, is aligned, they didn't make the playoffs, all right? There was something like 10-7 and didn't make the playoffs, all right? Because I guess the way that they had to gauge it, New England made it, and whoever made it over them, they had to gauge it on the points scored against the points allowed, all right? And it was a bigger differential, and that's what happened there. And they ended up firing the man when they was at the brink of making the playoffs, and they didn't have 2 consecutive winning records in many years, all right? Something like 20 years or something like that, all right? So, like, really anybody cares about the Miami Dolphins, all right? They really ain't had much success, quite frankly, since Dan Marino retired. And that was, over 20 years ago. Excuse me. And he thought he was going to have the job, okay, over there in New York for the Giants. And they didn't hire him. Now, in the midst of all this, I guess Brian Flores had revealed that the owner for the Miami Dolphins, during his 3rd season, okay, $100,000 to throw games so they could have a higher placement in the NFL draft. All right, and Brian Flores had turned it down. Okay, I think that Brian Flores was very upset that he didn't get the job in New York. Coach Belichick had texted the wrong man from the reports that I saw. It was another Brian that ended up getting the job in New York and texted Brian Flores by accident. Okay, I don't know if it's, I'm gonna assume it's, it was unintentional, all right? But it could have been a thing where maybe he was trying to tease Brian Flores. I don't know what, okay? But I think Brian Flores was very upset. Him and his wife is from New York. It would have probably been nice to get the job up there so he could be close to his family, his wife, to his in-laws. And it didn't happen that way, okay? So I think he's at a period where he vetted, and he also vetted about that Rooney Rule, okay? That it's a front just to hire, just to interview, because you have to interview one black coach. Every team, when they get a coaching job, or probably assistant coaches jobs, whatever, okay? Something just to fulfill that, all right? Although I believe that the owner knew who he wanted. And I like to say this. Is the NFL sort of a plantation? Yeah, that's true. Okay, Brian Flores was vetting, saying it was somewhat like that, okay? But a corporation, any corporation is pretty much a modern day terminology for a plantation, pretty much, okay? I mean, there's always going to be somebody over you, unless you actually have your own business or self-employed. That's the way it is. As sad as it's said. And I do feel sorry for the guy, the way that he was treated out there in Miami. It came to my understanding from looking at Skip and Shannon that him and the general manager was also a black man. They squabbled over trying to get Deshaun Watson to come to Miami, and the guy ended up firing him. I guess the owner put pressure on the general manager. It's either, he's against the grid. It's either going to be you. He was probably saying that to the general manager, either you or the coach, one of the two. So It's one of the things that, hey, general manager, he got to eat too. He got to keep his job. So, it's really about business in the end of the day, all right, on top of any type of racial or discrimination factions, because the NFL, it is a business, what, $25 billion, something like that, a year that they make. And it is probably about race, it is about relationships in the end of the day, politics, and 9 times out of 10 being that most of these owners, except one, is a white man, or white men. They're going to probably more than likely help out each other. Why? Because looking like me, you are behind enemy lines. This is not your arrest. There are exceptions to the rule. You see, we got one black coach. He's been there for what? About 15 years. Tomlin from Pittsburgh. We probably could use I don't know, 1-2 more black coaches. And I hope that Brian Flores can get a job like at Houston, or maybe he can get that gig, and maybe that's a way they can reunite with Deshaun Watson. But I got to tell you something about the way business works. From being a business owner at one time, having a small business, as well as being self-employed right now, they can pick and choose whoever they want to hire, okay? That's it, It's not really discrimination, but they did go through the protocol. So, I mean, we all have our choices about who we want to, hire. If you're in that situation, put yourself in that situation, really, whether you like it or not. All right. And the best thing to do is probably just keep trucking, keep applying. All right. Maybe sometimes it's not meant for the Most High to go through those doors. All right. So, because let's just say if we went to New York, I think he would have probably had the same problem that he did down in Miami. Okay. They had to take a scrappy team to have to put it together. Okay. Maybe that job wasn't for him. He probably did deserve to have better. They have a playoff team, with the potential to go further, okay? Because he's proven that he can make it to the playoffs. And there's something better for him, I believe. Okay. But they have a right to hire or fire anybody, okay? Any employer for any reason. I just wish the best for Brian Flores, but I do believe that there's something better out there for him to do, okay, as far as in the NFL or maybe even college, Sometimes life is just not fair, so I feel like I can be further than where I am, but, I'm where I am for a reason, because, just in this life, you get what you need, you get whatever that's best for you. I think the opportunities will come about when the Most High is ready to have that opportunity, okay? Look at what happened with Job, all right? He ended up losing everything, his family, children, everything, and he was a God-fearing man. And he was wondering why, the Most High was doing it, and why was that doing it to him? And the Most High came down like in a whirlwind and said, you know what? I have a bigger plan for you. You know what I'm saying? So as much as you don't like what I do, and he ended up living to be, 140 years old, ended up having children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, okay? I think it was like 4 generations, all right? So, Most High, a lot of times has a better plan for you, okay? A more appropriate plan for you. But I want to end it right there because I don't want to take too much of your time there. I appreciate you listening. And feel free to subscribe, like, share, leave your comments. Cash App, $Winston Spivey if you want to donate.